Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program, The Daily Debate. In today's edition, we are going to talk about the FII conference taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, under the auspices of Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The 8th edition of the Future Investment Initiative Conference kicked off its activities in the Saudi capital, Riyadh. Redefining infinite horizon, investing today and shaping tomorrow. Over 3 days, the Horizon Conference, which is attended by Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, is bringing together world leaders, CEOs and executives from various sectors, including finance, energy, technology and entertainment, to discuss the future of the economy. At the beginning, I would like to greet my dear guest in the studio, Dr. Zeinab Nawwar, Professor of Economics. Good day, and thank you so much, Dr. Nawwar, for being our guest for tonight.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
And before starting, we'll shed light about the top story, where Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli attended the 8th Future Investment Initiative FII conference in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, on Tuesday. On behalf of President Abdel Fattah Sisi, Prime Minister Madbouli addressed the inaugural session of the 3-day conference, which is held under the title Unlimited Horizon, Investment Today to Shape the Future. He said Egypt would move forward in the path of comprehensive development despite current challenges facing the region in a bid to achieve prosperity. The Prime Minister noted that Egypt took the opportunity and appropriate steps to remove any obstacles facing the investment path, adding that Cairo seeks to be a regional energy hub. Madbouli affirmed that Egypt attaches special importance to the private sector in leading the economic process, noting that the maximum limit has been set for the government investment to provide more opportunities for the private sector. During his speech, the Prime Minister expressed Egypt's readiness to participate in the development process in Saudi Arabia. The Prime Minister is accompanied by Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriate Affairs Badr Abdel Ati. The conference drew more than 5,000 delegates and 500 speakers, policymakers, executives, investors and senior specialists in economic and developmental fields. It hosts over 200 sessions over the array of topics, including economic stability, fair development facing climate change, artificial intelligence, innovation, health, geopolitics and others. The event was debuted in 2017 as a showcase for diversifying the economy of the world's largest crude exporter. And indeed, the Infinite Horizon, Investing Today, Shaping Tomorrow, under the royal patronage of the custodian of the two holy shrines, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The Future Investment Initiative, the 8th edition conference, started its activities in the Saudi capital, Riyadh. More details in the following report.
Under the royal patronage of the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, the Future Investment Initiative's 8th edition conference started its activities in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, under the captivating theme Infinite Horizons, Investing Today, Shaping Tomorrow. It ignites discussions on how investment can serve as a catalyst for a prosperous and sustainable future, pushing the boundaries of what is possible for humanity. Policy makers, top government officials, corporate bosses and finance executives from around the world are descending on the Saudi capital, Riyadh, for the 8th Future Investment Initiative, in which it promises to be a melting pot of innovative ideas, bringing together global leaders, entrepreneurs, political leaders, media and decision makers in finance, artificial intelligence, sustainability, energy, geoeconomics, space and beyond. By focusing on the theme of Infinite Horizons, this year's conference will challenge attendees to think beyond conventional limits and explore investment opportunities that can bridge current challenges with future possibilities. The conference will hold a variety of external engagements to be hosted throughout the coming days. For the Institute members, invited delegates and strategic partners, Discussions at the conference will be data-driven, ensuring that insights are grounded in facts and actionable strategies. Weaker economic backdrop shapes the discussion at the annual event of policymakers, leading finance and corporate executives and entrepreneurs. The agenda-setting annual gathering will explore the theme of how investing today will shape the infinite horizons of tomorrow. However, the ongoing global economic challenges as well as continued geopolitical headwinds from Israel-Gaza war are likely to garner equal attention. The heavyweights of the corporate and the finance worlds will discuss investment themes and how to broaden the horizons to new economy sectors. Any debate will be heavily influenced by the current weakness in the global economy and the war in the Middle East, marring any chances of a quick recovery. The conference this year is holding sessions on Africa and the prospects of investment in some of the continent's fast-growing economies, a day ahead of the three-day summit. The Africa series, which will feature speakers from sectors including government, energy, corporate and banking, will be followed by panel discussions exploring how women in the financial world can be the game changers. Throughout the pre-summits, the Institute demonstrated its commitment to fostering positive change and global collaboration.
Welcome back, our dear viewers, and starting our debate with our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Zeinab Nawwar, Professor of Economics. Dr. Zeinab, today the 8th edition of the Future Investment Initiative Conference was held in the Saudi capital, Riyadh, under the captivating theme of Infinite Horizons, Investing Today and Shaping Tomorrow. Actually, what is the significance of that conference, which is attended by the Egyptian Prime Minister, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli?
Eventually, these type of conferences, especially when we talk about the conference of whatever the name of Infinite Horizon, these type of conferences, it's like they combine the think tankers and the scientists from different fields, from different countries around the world. They are engaging in discussing several topics and several economic and political issues, challenges that are facing not only the countries in the MENA region, but also worldwide events, worldwide problems, worldwide economic issues. So it is like what can say, it's a big event that talks about everything that is related to the economic and the social and political, whatever related to the human being on earth. This is very important, and also by naming that Infinite Horizon and also putting a scope on the investment, this is actually dealing with what we do facing right now of economic challenges in the region or worldwide also, and all what we do have in terms of civilization clashes and all we have in terms of economic problems worldwide, not only in the MENA. So this type of conferences is very important to bring those think tanks into Saudi Arabia, wherever, into the MENA region, into the region itself, and having such multi and different debates and talks. This is very important to enhance the way of thinking, to talk about different topics, maybe to find solutions for some other issues. So this is very important, because if we talk about development and how to develop a country, how to develop in terms of doing reforms, investments, attracting FDIs, you have to start by talking and listening to those who have the experience and the expertise, so you can benefit from them. And of course, having this big number of people and businessmen and even what we can say world leaders or governmental leaders in one place, this is very important to exchange point of views, maybe to find opportunities for business, find opportunities for information and knowledge, exchanging ideas. So this is the importance of such type of conferences.
Indeed. Dr. Nawwar, actually that conference is taking place with the participation of over 600 speakers, 8,000 leaders, investors and innovators who are participating in more than 200 panels throughout the 3 days of the event. How can this edition of the conference address actually the pressing issues such as the challenges facing humanity, from finance, energy, investment, artificial intelligence to business, climate change, and cutting-edge innovation. To what extent many issues would be discussed, and to what extent we could benefit as Arab countries from discussing such pressing issues?
The Infinite Horizon Conference, it has also a version of the conference at the time of Corona,
yes.
And they also managed to have this different big number of panels in the time of Corona online.
Yes.
So the organizers of this conference, they are so smart and they are so talented to handle this number of panels at a time. What I see how we can benefit from that in the region, that what I saw that most of the speakers in these different panels came from private sector, came from governmental institutions, writers even, professors of universities, CEO of different and successful organizations, CEO of different civil society and NGOs also. So having this different, what we can say, stakeholders and this different type of speakers enrich the conference itself. I saw that for different panels, like for the energy, like the one that is related to talk about women empowerment. Even how the free talk that they do have, I mean, I felt that for each panel, yes, there is a scope for the speakers to talk about a certain topic, but they just talking freely, talking of different angles of the same issue. About what I just noticed in some of the sessions related to the women empowerment, they were talking freely about the issue of women empowerment worldwide, and how the evolution that is happening right now in the developing world, and then trying to link that in Africa. And then they having one of the speakers were CEO from an NGO talking about her experience. Sometimes they invite others to come online to be part of their participation in these panels and sessions.
Yes.
So I see it is so organized, and this is not the first time to see this conference in that excellent way of organization, and also in terms of thoughtful panels, and also giving the floor to the speakers to talk and to have their own views. And this is why you will see that eventually the speakers will come out with new ideas, and will come out with new innovations and new things that will start to talk about it. And I see that most of them, or what I had time to see for today, was very fruitful and also insightful.
Yes. As you have kindly mentioned, Dr. Nawwar, how these conferences, these discussions, these panels with the participation of different leaders, different NGO members, different CEOs, innovators, could be beneficial for Saudi Arabia as well as the MENA countries, the Gulf states, the whole countries in the region?
To listen carefully to their ideas, to listen carefully to their experiences, and to see how could be like a cooperation, collaboration, or a platform to be created, so you can let those who are speakers in this conference not only just part of their engagement to be part of this session, but also to let them in a way or another in different activities inside Saudi Arabia or inside any of the Arab countries. The thing that when you find these thoughtful people in a place, you have to have this type of a relation with them, and you have to get them engaged with you more than just being a speaker in a session. And this should be the innovation of these conferences, is how to create this type of connections, and also how to build upon what you hear from them, and to see how you can benefit from them, and also to encourage them to be part of a project, to be part of the work. Because what I felt also from some of the speakers, that some of the speakers, they just are coming to you because they would like to speak about the topic, and they would like to show off that. And some of the speakers, they are keen to talk about the topic because they are keen to talk about the problems of the developing world, and they would like to help, and they would like to support, they would like to do something So when you just feel that sense from any of these speakers, so you have to get them in one another and to encourage them to be in, whether in Saudi Arabia, whether in Egypt, whether in different countries in the world, because those people have this type of developmental mentality and also developmental ability and work.
Yeah. We have to admit here that the conference is taking place amid a very turbulent situation in the region with the Gaza war, the situation in Lebanon, also the world situation with the ongoing Ukrainian-Russian war. To what extent all these challenges and all these wars taking place in the world are affecting the world economy?
Of course, having this, what we can say that the war that we have right now in the region, or in the region, I'm talking about Gaza and Lebanon, and also what we are seeing worldwide, the Russia and Ukraine war, and also the unstable situation that we do have between U.S. and China, and this type of clashing between, and even the unstable situation between Russia and U.S.
So this is what we call geopolitical turbulence.
This is what we call civilization clashes. This is very normal by the historical evidence. You will see that for several decades, or once you will have nations that had achieved economic development, like China, for example, and especially when we talk about China and what China had achieved in terms of economic development and growth and the amount of exportation worldwide, and how we started this civilization clashes started by the trade war between U.S. and China, and then we had Corona, and then we had Russia and Ukraine war. Part of it also there was a clashing between Russia and the U.S., and then we ended having the war in the region, and Israel and Gaza and all of that. So I think we are part of a bigger scene of clashes between different civilizations. So how this would affect the economic growth? Of course, it affects the economic growth of the worldwide countries. Europe, of course, we know that the effect of the Russia-Ukraine war on Europe, the economy of Europe also, the clashes between U.S. and China, also it affects the economy of China. It affects also the other countries in the region. It affects the trade, the supply chain around the world, and what we have seen in the time of Corona, and what's happening right now, because what we have in Gaza and in Lebanon also, and what's happening in the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea, again and once again, this all, of course, causes a lot of problems in the flow of trade. So all of this is affecting trade, affecting economic growth, affecting even the supply chain and the flow of trade worldwide, and even increasing the cost of the products worldwide.
Of course. Actually, Dr. Nawwar, by focusing on the theme of Infinite Horizon, does this year's conference challenge the attendees to think beyond the conventional limits and to explore the investment opportunities that can actually bring a bridge between the challenges, the current challenges, and the future opportunities that we should be having?
We had a huge challenges, I think.
Indeed.
Yes, the conference is challenging the attendees and the speakers to think beyond what is normal, to think for different ideas, how to deal with the different challenges, how to also use the technology, how to use the AI, artificial intelligence. It's not about the wars and the clashes that we do have right now, but other challenges like the climate change, one of the issues that we do have. The technology and the proper use of technology, the innovations, the artificial intelligence, how this could all be blended all together to find a solution where another to what we are facing. I think this is why they're saying it's an infinite horizon, because it's something beyond the limits, because we have a lot of potential. I'm talking about the region itself, but at the same time we're having a lot of challenges. So what we can do and how we can just increase or work on our potentials more than the challenges that we do have.
Yes, indeed, and we'll take this report while the 8th edition of the Future Investment Initiative Horizon Conference, which kicked off in Saudi capital today, pioneers a new kind of mindset where leaders and game changers break free of past limitations.
The 8th edition of the Future Investment Initiative Horizon Conference, which kicked off in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday, pioneers a new kind of mindset where leaders and game-changer break free of past limitations, fueling innovation that leads to boundless human potential and economic growth. The world's visionaries will explore how non-linear thinking can deploy capital to address the planet's most critical issues, from infrastructure gaps to environmental threats, ultimately achieving the optimal point between planetary consumption and regeneration and positively impacting humanity. Leveraging the Future Investment Initiative Institute's unique position as a global investment powerhouse, the conference is focusing on building bridges between investors and business leaders from different geographies, highlighting the unique investment opportunities of the African continent and fostering cross-border investment. It facilitates business relationships between CEOs, entrepreneurs, leaders, professionals and investors, particularly to stakeholders in the Middle East. The summit promotes foreign investment into Africa by showcasing strategies, approaches, mechanisms and opportunities in the continent's diverse economic landscape. The conference also provides delegates with first-hand accounts of the opportunities, risks, challenges and successful stories of investing across stages of their ventures. It further reviews emerging sectors with high growth potential such as renewable energy, technology, agriculture and entertainment. Meanwhile, the gathering highlights women's experiences, including challenges they have overcome and knowledge they have gained to assume leadership roles in various sectors. Infinite innovation defies the known limits of the physical and digital worlds. Global investment in research and development into breakthrough technologies tripled in the last 3 decades, from $672 billion to over $2.2 trillion. Infinite Humanity confronts the constraints that limit human capacity, including inequality and inadequate education and poor health care. Today, only 1% of humanity owns 43% of the world's financial assets. Infinite Capital sees disruptive forces continuing to shatter traditional notions of limited funding in both established and emerging markets. Total global wealth has exceeded $450 trillion in recent years. Building a thriving business from drawing board to reality can take years, calling for more than just capital and pure dedication.
Back to our discussions here with our dear guest, Dr. Zeinab Nawwar. Dr. Zeinab, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli attended the 8th Future Investment Initiative Conference on behalf of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and in his speech today he said that Egypt would move forward in the path of comprehensive development despite the current challenges facing the region in a bid to achieve prosperity. To what extent our participation in such a conference is important for Egypt, and how we can benefit from our participation?
Of course, for Egypt, it's very important for us to participate and to be in these conferences, exchanging ideas, talking about the Egyptian economy, what we had achieved so far. And of course, these talks, I mean, from the Prime Minister, it will be heard from the other attendees or speakers in the conference, so they will know more about the Egyptian economy, the potential of the economy, and also what we had done in terms of the reform in different platforms and what we had achieved. So this would, of course, eventually you market for the Egyptian economy, part of it, and also you are saying that for a way or another we are here in this important event.
Indeed.
Part of it. And we have also to work that we had to be in. We had to do some sort of, we're just saying that, like public relations with some of the speakers and some of PR with those speakers. I mean, why not to invite some of them to come to Egypt? Why not to invite some of these speakers to also speak here in different platforms to showcase their experience and what they had done? As I said, that I felt that some of these speakers in the conference, they are not just speakers, they are developmental mentality. So we would like to attract those to come to our lands here in Egypt and try to benefit from their experiences. And this is the true development, is try to develop, to benefit from the others, and also to build upon what they had done. This is very important. And of course the use of science and the use of technology.
Doctor, also the Prime Minister affirmed that Egypt is attaching special importance to the role of the private sector in leading the economic process, and that the maximum limit has been set for the government investment to provide actually more opportunities for the private sector. To what extent here we can attract by participating in that conference and by increasing the role of the private sector, we could attract more FDI, we could involve our investors more with the foreign investors, and to exchange experiences and to attract more FDI.
Of course, when you, I'm talking about the Egyptian government, when you just encourage and also you showcase the private sector experience and the successful examples of the private sector and how the government is supporting the private sector, this would be a great, what we can say, edge for the FDI to come to our land. I mean, if the government is truly helping the private sector, the local manufacturers, which should be in the first stance, so eventually it will help the FDIs. We need to get more of the foreign direct investors, but those who have a technological advancement, because we need the technology and we need the new knowledge coming into our lands. So of course, when we talk about the Egyptian economy, what had been achieved, even if we talk about the challenges, we have to be also, frankly speaking, we're talking about, because for each economy there are challenges, but there are also a lot of potentials.
Indeed.
And they know that. So when you just talk about this, and when you just ask investors or FDIs to come into our lands, even for investigation and to see and to test and to ask about our economy, and they truly do that. For any foreign investors, before coming into our lands, they also, they sometimes, or most of the time, they do like some sort of visibility study, economic visibility study from their countries, and then they will send an experts into our lands to investigate what they had worked on. So all of these are stages. So once you just start to talk about the economy and what we are doing, and even start to disseminate some information related to the economy, give them reports, or to tell them how to just have more information about the Egyptian economy from different websites, from different reports, from different websites, and it's important also to ask them to go into or to enter an credible websites and credible resources and reports concerning the Egyptian economy. So you just market for the economy, and you try to attract them. You have to be very, what we can say, you have to tell them everything, and you have to ask them if they would like to share in the development, and also to talk about the potential project that we do have. If we talk about the Suez, of course, economic zone, and then we could talk about the Suez Canal, Suez Canal economic zone. This is one of the potentials. Other different projects that we do have, industrial zones, different industrial zones that we do have also. What we do have in ports, in different ports, and the new projects related to the ports and ports development and reform. So we have plenty of projects, and we need a lot of FDIs to come and to share in this and to be part in this.
Yes. Doctor, what incentives here we could be providing for the foreign investors in order to attract the investors to come and invest, as you have kindly mentioned, here in Egypt? We have so many potentials, so how we can attract them in order to come and invest here in Egypt with all the competitive atmosphere in neighboring countries?
Other competitors in neighboring countries, yes. It's the incentives that you would give to them. And also less bureaucracy. This is very important, that they can, if they can start their own business in less time, all of this type of procedures and regulations to have like what we can say reform related to the procedures and regulations to be easier, because for those businessmen and those FDIs, time is very important. So if you make it easier for them to start their business and to start their work, and also to have the different approvals, if they face a problem, they can easily go to whatever person that is concerned, to the minister, even they can go to the prime minister sometimes for some cases. This will
facilitate providing
help them.
Facilities as well.
Yes, facilities and incentives. This is very important. Because we have the human factor with different specializations and skills. I don't think that we have a problem related to the human factor.
Indeed.
We don't have a problem related to the lands and the resources. I'm talking about the physical resources. We don't have a problem in that. But we have a problem in the bureaucracy and in the procedures. We have to make it easier and less complex to them, so you will attract them easily. This is very important.
Indeed. Back to the conference here, to what extent it is promising to be a melting actually pot for innovative ideas, bringing together the global leaders, the CEOs of companies, political leaders, media and decision makers in different fields like in finance, in AI, in energy, geoeconomic space, many and different domains. So to what extent we could see here a melting pot for all these ideas, and how we can benefit from all these exchanges of experiences in very different fields and domains.
This is normal, because if you didn't work in these different domains, you are not working, or you are not saying you are not in like most of the countries, because if you're talking about the AI, this is part of the talk, and this is part of the innovation that we do have for the MENA region and for Egypt and for the rest of the world. If we're going to talk about technological advances, this is very important for Egypt, because if you didn't take care of technology, this means that you'll be lagged behind in terms of industry, in terms of services, and you will not be able to adapt with the huge changes that is happening worldwide. So it's for each and every country seeking development, there should be this case of melting pot, yes, of different ideas, different innovations. This is normal, because this is what's going on around the world and going on around the world. By all means, when we're talking of different and melting ideas, you have to know that in China and India, for example, they are now 100 years more advanced than what you are talking right now. So the day that you are talking about these ideas, other countries, they had just achieved huge advancement. So you have to talk
very fast.
Yes, it changes very fast. Technology and technological advancement is very fast. The AI and all of these type of new tools changing the world. So we have to adapt with all of that, otherwise we will be lagged behind, and we don't want to be in this case.
Of course. Will that conference, Doctor, shed light on the crucial role played by the private sector in order to boost the economy and to push forward the wheel of the economic development?
Yes, indeed, this is the case, because at the end of the day, if you have this type of melting ideas and a lot of things that have been discussed, who's going to implement all of that? It's not the public, it's not the government by its own, it's the private sector that will innovate. The private sector will work on the ground. The private sector will take these ideas and try to work on different applications, different technological advancements, attracting FDIs to have like sort of partnership. So how these ideas would be translated into something or transferred into something on the ground, it's by the use of the private sector. This is why government should encourage the private sector and the work of the private sector, and again, to facilitate whatever rules and regulations to help them to flourish and to help them to start their own work, and also to flourish on the ground and to absorb whatever new technology, whatever new ideas.
How actually can the business leaders actually leverage the cross-sectoral collaboration and the ethical technology to actually propel the societal progress?
From these type of events, right?
Yes.
Part of how we can make an advantage or benefit from the technological advancement, we start sometimes by copying some of it. We start by saying how they, or thinking how they had done this type of technology, so how we can just copy this technology, how we can start the work. And eventually in the region and also in Egypt, we started to have a lot of technological universities that part of their curricula is to educate the students about programming, AI, machine learning, and all of these new courses and new topics. So eventually you will have this generation of the students that would work according to the latest technological advancement And I think you will have a new theme and a new way of thinking, a new way of also of doing things and doing work based on this technological advancement and this new era of education.
Yes. Actually, that event, that conference, debuted in 2017 as a showcase for diversifying the economy of the world's largest crude exporter, which is Saudi Arabia. To what extent they did succeed in diversifying their economy throughout these years, and to what extent we are witnessing more to come from the diversification of the economy, not only in Saudi Arabia, but in Egypt and the MENA countries?
It became a must right now. I mean, it became so hard for an economy or a country to depend on 2 or 3 main sources of income. The Arab countries in general, not only Egypt, but the rest of the Arab world, and eventually some of the Arab world also, they are not lucky because of civil war in some parts of the Arab world also. We have a huge and potential of resources, human factor, labor, land, petroleum, we have agriculture also potential, we have industrial potential, but unfortunately maybe before there was no focus on this type of potential. There were only focus on 2 or 3 sectors, and that's it, because we have an income. But this is not the case anymore. You have to use as much as we can from the resources that we do have in our lands for more economic growth and for more of progress. If you didn't use your resources efficiently as a government, others will come to your land and they will use it. Yes. So I think it's better for you to use it efficiently, because we have civilization clashes worldwide, we have different countries looking for different resources, and we have cases. We have cases right now for some Arab countries that we have other countries that are now working and trying to getting resources out of some of the African and Arab countries. So once again, if you didn't use your own resources, others will come to your land and they will use it.
Indeed, indeed. Doctor, actually, what are the universal factors that drive the successful venture, and can these practices actually could be replicated on the global level?
You talk about venture, or you talk about the event itself?
The venture in general.
Venture in terms of what?
Of successful ideas and successful factors that could lead to the success of our economy.
I'll tell you something. When you talk about certain ideas, thoughts, new ideas that have been implemented on the ground, even new applications, youth who are working on their own projects, private sector starting their own work, those think tanks at universities and in different places, attracting FDIs and trying to have this knowledge coming from them. So all of this on the ground, if you'd like to combine all of these efforts, so eventually you will achieve economic growth, because you cannot, under any circumstances and given the challenges that we do have right now, to achieve economic growth from only one source. And we have just said that it's only about petroleum. It's not, no, it's not the case right now. It's about how you have these different types of multi potential that you do have in different sectors, in different ventures, in different private sector, startups, medium enterprises, even those on the micro level. Also, you have to encourage them, and you have also to take an advantage and take a benefit from what they're doing. On the educational level also, you have to take care of that. On the health level, you have to work on that. On the reform of different policies, it's a lot that you should do. And eventually it will lead to the economic growth if you had just made this streamline, or this line between all of these items on the ground, and you organized the economy well, and you had done a good planning for the economy. I think eventually there will be an economic growth.
Doctor, we are just a few days ahead of the American elections, and the conference is taking place just a few days of that. To what extent the results of the American election could affect the world economy, which could affect our economy as well? Do you see a real change that could be witnessed by the results of the elections, or no concrete repercussions could be felt?
I cannot see or feel readings out of this elections, because what I see that eventually for these elections and some of the debate related to the elections also, I cannot see that there will be change in the U.S. Policy towards the MENA region. I cannot see that. We don't know. Maybe there's something to happen, but what we see from what is happening right now in Gaza and Lebanon, it doesn't tell good thing about what's going to happen. So we cannot give a good reading of what's going to happen. What we need to depend on is to depend on our countries and economies and our youth and our strength. This is very important. This is what we should truly focus on. We shouldn't give much weight to elections here and there. We have to focus in our country and how that we have truly big weight and we have truly a lot of potentials given what we do have, and this is the edge that we have to focus on.
Yes. Doctor, also, how can the fintech's revolution bridge the financial inclusion gap?
Of course, the fintech and the use of technology in the financial service and the banking services, it has a huge role in whatever filling in the gaps in technology and services, even if we would like to deal with whatever related to trade, financial transfers, even for different types of financial services. So it will fill the gap when you deal with the rest of the world, and also will fill the gap inside the country itself in terms of the easiness of doing the services in less time, less error, less effort. And this, of course, means saving money to the persons themselves and to the business and to the economy as a whole.
Indeed, Dr. Zeinab Nawwar, Professor of Economics, thank you so much for your very precious input. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zeinab. Our dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of this edition of the Daily Debate. Till tomorrow with another crew, I'm Hessi Rabia signing off. Many thanks for watching.